You're the friend that lives like a block away, right, from Jade? You guys know each other from back home and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like elementary school.
Damn.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Way back.
Darian too. Known Darian.
Really?
Yeah, we all grew up in the same small town in Colorado.
And you all knew each other or just...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Wow.
Yeah.
Damn. It's so funny. You say, I was telling my girlfriend about Jade, like the first time I was like, this cool guy at the drawing event I went to. She's like, sounds like you have like a friend crush. I'm like, no.
No, this is really cool.
It does sort of feel like dating though when you make a adult friend of the same gender and you find yourself like texting them and so like trying to figure out what that relationship is like. Yeah, like having to like set up basically dates.
Yeah, I was like, Martin, you want to grab a drink after volleyball?
Yeah.
We can talk about anime.
Oh, do I?
But yeah, Martin does storyboard art. So he
Awesome.
I thought he would also have we'll talk about it in the podcast too, but maybe an interesting perspective on I don't know if
I made Ghost in the Shell, guys. It was me.
I knew we should have had you on. Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious, like if you probably watch things with that in mind, or do you just enjoy the movie, or are you thinking about in the background like your trade?
Yeah, we can get into that because that's I was definitely thinking about that now because I've watched Ghost in the Shell like maybe 4 or 5 times at this point. And this is the first time I've watched it in the last 4 years, but I've broken down a lot of scenes in those 4 years. And so now it's like, oh man, I appreciate this movie a lot more.
Do you find that like, do you have to have a familiarity with like focal lengths and lighting techniques? Like does the director say like, we're planning on shooting with a 24 to 70 zoom, so it all has to sort of be in that range? Yeah,
you definitely like sometimes I've encountered that. Sometimes it's like free reign of like just make cool shots, and like you're kind of like the first layer of like like a DP and an editor at some points. If you're making like an animatic, like you're the first person on the front line, like here's some ideas, and then the director says I like that, I don't like that, and then we change it up. Or in like you're saying, sometimes they're like, well, we're gonna do an anamorphic lens. So make all your shots like really read as like that.
That's really interesting. I've never gotten to work with storyboard artists. I've been handed storyboards.
Oh yeah.
Like after I'll get handed the footage along with the original storyboard, and it's really nice because you get to kind of cut to what has already been blocked out in the storyboard, which takes away the anxiety of an empty timeline. Yeah. Especially when there's not dialogue. Yeah. Because that can be like cutting a montage and there's nothing on the timeline can be really nerve-wracking.
Right. It's like a blank slate. At least you have some illustrations to go off of. You work in film? Or like...
Yeah. I got my start in commercial work in LA, and then I hated it so much that I left.
That's what I hear.
I was very politically naive, so my like Adbusters ass brain was like, fuck the system, I'm not making commercials anymore, I'm gonna go make videos for NGOs in Latin America, and quickly discovered that the NGOs are also bullshit.
Oh yeah. I'm not gonna work for the man anymore.
Yeah, it turns out NGOs are the man. Yeah. So in the last 4 or 5 years, I've been doing mostly political propaganda and labor propaganda for unions.
Yeah, you look like a real Trump guy. I take it.
Yeah. It is interesting though. Like I've spoken to so many Trump-style unionist guys who, like down in Alabama or whatnot, and as soon as they get started talking about their union, they start talking about worker democracy and how the bosses don't have the workers' best in, like they start to sound like communists.
Yeah, right. When you said that Trump union people, I was like, that's an oxymoron. That's not real.
Some of these unions, they're majority Trump voters.
Damn.
So Martin, what got you into storyboarding?
I've told you this story before, I think, but like I've always been into like drawing, and I was always like, I want to make art for a living.
Is that what you sounded like?
I was Eastern European little kid. Okay. I come on the boat. I say, "Oh, Statue of Liberty. I want to draw."
Bring that Martin back. I like that guy.
My father whipped me. He said, "No, you must make money." So like throughout high school, I was like, what the fuck am I good at or interests me? And nothing. It was nothing. Except like computers a little bit. I was like, all right, I guess computer science or engineering or something like that. So I did engineering, and then I hated it. So I wanted to do art as my little kid dream. But for a long time, I didn't really know what that entailed or how to do that. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll be an illustrator for like, I don't know, the New Yorker or like some magazine or something that like has illustrations, paintings or whatever. Because I didn't want to do like children's books. I know that's a common path for illustrators, but I wanted to do just like some storytelling thing. And then eventually I met like an animator who just coincidentally on an airplane, I don't know, I was nice to some person, switch seats or something like that. And she was like, oh, like, what's your profession? I was like, oh, I want to be like, I want to work in whatever, illustration, animation, whatever. She's like, oh, I'm an animator. She's like, wow. And so afterwards, we exchanged contacts and we talked over like Google Hangouts or whatever it was. And it was like a 1-hour meeting and didn't really go that well. And by the end of it, she was kind of like almost frustrated at me, or maybe that's how I read it. She was like, I can't help you because you really don't seem like you know what you want. And like when you meet people that are in the industry, you should tell them like what you're looking for, because then they can help you get there. I was like, oh, that sucks to hear, but it makes sense. And so since then, that was like 4 years ago, I started like looking for things and I discovered storyboarding. And I was like, oh shit, I can draw. I hate color. So I was like, I can draw unfinished images and make them into a story. And then like, that's it. That's the final product. Sick. Sign me up. And so I started taking classes and whatnot. And yeah, here I am.
Love it.
Sick.
Major, are you there?
Yeah, I heard you.
I'm surprised you can hear anything. What's with all the noise in your brain today?
Must be a loose wire.
I think we've all seen this movie before. I'm curious, when did everybody see it the first time, and what was their like original reaction to seeing it?
I saw this when I was probably like middle schooler, like 6th grade, and my friend showed it to me and I didn't get it, and it freaked me out. It like disturbed me, especially there's a part in the movie where there's this like disembodied torso with a bunch of wires coming out of it and tits, and it starts like tweaking out and jiggling like really intensely. And I just could not handle it. I was like, all right, can you turn this off? I was like, I didn't get it. I thought some parts were like cool and interesting to look at, but pretty much everything went over my head. But I have obviously since then watched it a couple more times, and it's one of my favorite movies. And now I like the scene with the jiggling tits and tweaking out lady. It's a
Not
compelling
shocked.
scene. Hey.
Just saying.
Darren, what about you?
When was the first time I watched it and what was my impression? Well, let's see. I started this morning at around 8 a.m.
Oh, keep going.
And I watched it throughout the workday, not on the clock work, anyone that's listening.
Yeah. Good save.
Thank you. And maybe it's because of how I watched it, but I'm a little confused about the whole thing, and boobs everywhere. Like the whole time I was like, I can't not talk about boobs because every anime has so many boobs, like unnecessarily. It'll be like face boob.
Mm-hmm. I'm so glad that it's your first time. As I was watching it, I was like thinking like, I hope it's someone's first time, because like I've seen this film like 5 times and only in the last 2 times have I started to understand things.
I
agree with that. Yeah, I feel like I've watched this movie multiple times and vaguely understood what was going on, but which
doesn't make sense to me, because I feel like the movie isn't hard to understand. Like the themes aren't insanely intense. Like, and there's not a lot going on, at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think there's what's can be confusing is just kind of like this background political stuff that's going on that they don't fully explain. Like there's like kind of tension between different factions of the government and different, foreign governments in general. They kind of brush over that really quickly. And it's a pretty short movie, right, Austin? Like we were saying, it seemed like only like an hour and a half.
Less than 90 minutes, I think. Yeah.
And so it kind of, it gets a lot of things in there pretty quickly. I think it does a good job. I don't think it really
In that way, it kind of reminded me of Jinro. It's like how it was the same timeline. It kind of has that like political part of it that isn't totally clear for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Know what I mean?
Oshii seems to, one of his many obsessions, it seems, is like government infighting, like various secret units sabotaging each other, not in the interest of Japan, but for like the interests of foreign capital.
Right.
Don't you think there's going to be trouble later if Section 9 interferes with Section 6?
If Section 6 manages to catch the bastard, then all he can really do about it is deport him. Don't forget, we're Section 9. We'll clean it up. We're the ones who get our hands dirty.
I was kind of surprised that this movie actually came out before Jinro. This felt to me like a great, not sequel, but like it felt like it took everything Jinro should have been. I know Jinro is its own thing and has its own flavor, but I honestly felt like this is a better movie in a lot of ways and expanded on a lot of things that I wanted from Jinro. But maybe that was because I'd seen Ghost in the Shell and knew it was by, or had some of the.
Yeah, I wonder if Jinro was like a script that he had written earlier before this movie, since Jinro is based off of a comic book series that he had started in the 80s. Maybe that script had been written prior.
Right.
That's why maybe he didn't direct it, because he had kind of gotten out some of those ideas in some of his own work.
What about you, Austin?
I don't know. The first time I saw it was like, I think I was a kid and my stepdad got it from the video store and he was really excited. We had watched like Miyazaki and stuff. I think I was like 11 and the video store clerk had recommended this. And I remember falling asleep. I didn't
The
get
boobs
it. I was
didn't do it for you?
Maybe if I was 13. I don't think I
true.
was quite at the point where that would have done it. Yeah, I remember falling asleep. It didn't grab me. And then I think I only revisited it last year.
Wow. Did you
Why?
fall asleep that time too?
Yeah.
No, I think that was
that's good.
That was
That's good. Oh, good.
I loved it. And I don't know how much I'm projecting onto it, but like the whole cyberpunk thing really like made me think about like Mark Fisher and Nick Land, and like I was reading all this like accelerationist theory into the movie, and I don't know if that's actually there. But what about you, Martin?
I think it was like end of high school that I really like sat down to like watch it, more than a decade ago at this point. And then I didn't really get it. I was like, I think I liked what I saw. Like it visually was insanely compelling, but like I finished it and I was like, that's it. Like what did I just watch? Like that's, I didn't really understand what happened and why it happened. And then
There's not much of an epilogue, is there? It just wraps right up.
Yeah. Like, and it's funny, I've torrented the film of way back then, and that same file is the one that I was using today. Like that's the same file I've used for fucking 10 plus years that I've transferred over computers. But it's funny, like because I've opened it up every so often, like I'll give that movie a try again. That's a classic that everyone likes supposedly. And again, without fail, every time I was like, why? What? Like I think I liked it, but this is the first time I was like, I like it. I do like it. I really like it, but I still feel like the story is like quite lacking in a lot of ways. I think, and I was trying to figure out why. And I think usually when I think a story is lacking, it's because like the stakes aren't clear enough to me. Everything up until the midpoint, I was following, and I was like, it's fantastic. And then once Matoko hears the voice that she says or whatever is in her head, and we have that sequence, and then we have the puppet master being hit by the car. And then everything after that feels like it just all just kind of happens. And Makoto doesn't really like change in any way. She just kind of agrees with the puppet master. She's like, hell yeah, all right, maybe I'm misremembering. Isn't that how it went down? Like she jacks in.
Yeah.
I believe it's jacks off. But
I knew he was going to say it.
Right into the back of the head, just like the Matrix. I mean, I kept thinking just how much the Matrix ripped off this movie.
So many things are influenced by this. I have like 5 different like things I wanted to reference from this. It's crazy.
But yeah, I feel like she just like she jacks off the puppet master, and she completely agrees with everything he says, and that's it, and that's a wrap.
Interesting.
I wonder if you guys have different takes on that. Yeah,
I think
it
we should.
felt like she was getting to that over the course of it. That, like at the beginning of the movie, she's fairly comfortable in her own personhood, and it's over the course of the movie that the various interactions and getting to know the puppet master, she starts to question whether she even has it, like whether she's human or not.
You'll be killed if you return.
I'm warning you to watch your comments. Our country is a peace-loving democracy.
Of course it is.
The window! Shoot!
Takes place in 2029 in Newport City, Japan. It's like futuristic cyberpunk dystopia.
I don't believe it. Thermoptic camouflage.
Major Motoko Kusanagi is an operative of Section 9, which is like an elite government group. I don't exactly know what they do. They fight cybercrime. I don't know. They do like a bunch of things there.
They're like, with everything in Japan, they're a protective force of some kind. Because they're not allowed to have an offensive force of any kind. So everything
they do some pretty offensive things, though, I will say.
Yeah.
No, it's only because of the American puppet master.
Yeah.
In case you haven't been briefed, this is the minister's interpreter. 23 minutes ago, her brain was hacked into through a data line. Foreign intelligence warned us about this. A hacker called the Puppet Master has begun to infiltrate terminals throughout our network. We believe it's extremely likely that he'll target the secret talks that are scheduled with the Republic of Gavel. As a precaution, we put everyone attending the talks under surveillance. It's my suspicion that once he hacked into her ghost, he'd use her to assassinate the key delegates.
There's this elusive entity called the Puppet Master, who they think is an American hacker who keeps hacking into people's cybernetic brains because most people have implants and are not really just human anymore. They're fused kind of with technology. Bodies can be fabricated at this point.
It's the transhumanist dream where
Whoa.
You know, like Elon Musk and all these psychos talk about like transhumanism.
Yeah, Neuralink.
Jeffrey Epstein was really into it. He had plans to cryogenically freeze his brain and his dick and balls so that in the future they could put those two things onto a cybernetic body.
Hell yeah. He knows where his priorities are at.
Are you serious?
Underage women forever. Yeah. This was an actual
real?
plan of his. Yeah.
Wouldn't he want like a bigger dick? Why wouldn't he just get a body with a better dick? Like, why would it have to be
cybernetic?
Like,
yeah, you're right.
Well, have you guys heard the theory that that's what Elon Musk tried to do? I guess he's got like kind of a fucked up penis. And so there's a rumor
How did we find that out?
Grimes probably like blogged about it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Fucking Grimes.
Apparently like it doesn't work. Like he did it and now he's got like kind of a fucked up dick.
How's he have so many kids then?
Well, he mails them semen. That's one of the theories of why he doesn't actually hook up with a lot of his baby mamas is he just like DMs them on Twitter and then like, you know, they share enough memes until he's like, can I mail you my sperm?
Wow.
Crazy.
What if that is what dating in the future is? We just don't even have sex. We just like message each other's sperm.
Oh my God.
Are we talking about the Puppet Master? The infamous mystery hacker?
Well, we don't know a lot either. No clue about age, sex, or background. We think that he or she is American, and it's the first time he's known to show up here. All we know for certain is this person is on the international most wanted list for crimes including stock manipulation, illegal information gathering, political engineering, several acts of terrorism.
Out of all like dystopic sci-fi futuristic movies, I feel like this one's actually kind of hits pretty close to home in a lot of ways. We were just talking about like Neuralink, like that's a reality in the show.
The Internet of Things, that everything's connected.
Yeah.
Another interesting element is like where power lies is not necessarily in military action. It's more on the internet or like this kind of background cyber warfare that's taking place. Who has the better technology or who has the better hacking ability?
I mean, with a lot of these like cyberpunk stuff, it is crazy how like even back in whatever the 90s, the 80s, sometimes way further back, like how much it translates to what we're dealing with today.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a shift in like between this movie and Blade Runner. I feel like Blade Runner imagined a future with limitless resources. So you've got like all the flying cars and everything like that, but they're still like using telephones and hologram video systems. Like they're making phone calls and stuff. This, I feel like, 15, 20 years later, it visually is aping a lot from Blade Runner and anything that just imagines the future looks like Hong Kong. But it like correctly predicts that like it is in a world of abundant resources. What is abundant is information. And so that is the primary resource that people are like battling over.
Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to think
What is the ghost in the shell? Can you explain that, Jude?
I mean, yeah, that's another term that's like important in the movie. It's like the ghost, when they refer to their ghost, it's like their soul. So if their body is a cyborg, is fabricated, is man-made, then the consciousness is the ghost or the soul. And they say that there's remaining like brain cells, or like they transfer actual human, what do you call it?
Brain matter.
Yeah, there's human parts to the cyborgs. That's like the lingering humanity within them. Because without that, they're just dolls.
Yeah.
And like the pervasive philosophical question is that one that I feel like we learned in middle school about, like, if you take a ship and you replace every piece, you replace the mast, and then you replace the decks. And at what point, how many pieces of the ship can you replace and it's still the same ship?
Right.
And our protagonists, many of them are almost entirely synthetic, with the Major being entirely synthetic. She doesn't have any human limbs or organs. It's only the promise that somewhere in her mind are the remnants of an old human brain that she can't even remember anymore.
That was speaking of that, like that was such an awesome, iconic like montage of showing how cyborgs are made. Specifically, it's Motoko's body that's being manufactured, and like behind the scene is like I looked up the music because it's so kind of eerie and haunting. It's cool, but they're singing in traditional Japanese, which is like singing in Old English or something, and it's kind of like a traditional choir. So there's kind of this contrast between something that's, and you can feel it too, even though I don't really know what that is. It feels old. It doesn't feel like contemporary music at all.
But guess what, Jade? On top of that, the inspiration is Bulgarian folk music.
Whoa.
Yeah, he took complete inspiration. Like, Bulgarian folk music sounds very similar, like that harmonization of like this like open throat singing is what he took. And then he took, like you said, like a more ancient like Japanese language, combined the two. Like, I think at one point he even wanted to use like pure Bulgarian choir, but maybe they shifted it just for, more easily digestible. But later on, like in the series, like, or in a separate series in the standalone complex, the anime series that comes after, the opening is in Russian. So like these like folk, like Eastern European sounds make its way into it just because of probably that organic, like kind of like traditional sounding music.
Tradition in the past is something that haunts this movie, so much so that the final battle scene takes place in the museum with the tree of life illustrated on the wall of the museum.
There's also Togusa, who is a cop who became a member of Section 9, and he has minimal cybernetic implants and carries around this old-fashioned revolver. And throughout the movie, and he's like, Motoko chose to have him on. She explains that he's important to their team because he's not fully cybernetic, and that she's kind of, without really saying it, that the human element makes them less predictable or makes them better as a team. And I kind of took that as like they're less algorithmic. Like, the world has become so infused with technology that they need something human. And the same when she says something like, there's like 2 or 3 times in the movie where she says, my ghost is whispering to me, or something, kind of implying a certain intuition or something that's beyond calculation and something that's human or from her soul or from her ghost.
Darian, I'm curious, like, how did you take this movie, and like how, like, these themes and stuff, like, did it translate? That, like, first time seeing it?
I felt, similarly to Jinro, like, it was interesting and I would watch it again, but I have a feeling that if I watched it again, a lot of things would make more sense. Like, while you guys have been talking, honestly, I've been sitting here like looking at a summary, like, I don't know how this ended. Like, I don't I need to contribute to this conversation.
No, I'm telling you, even at my 5th time, this is the first time that I was like, oh, the Major is like cyborg in this universe means like completely robot with like a brain, like what Austin was saying is like eventually she had a brain at one point, but it's just like all manufactured. That's such a important plot point that feel like
Yeah.
I missed a lot too. Yeah, it really took multiple viewings of this movie for it to like come together.
I should have watched it twice.
over the course of 10 years.
Right.
Yeah.
One thing I was thinking about this viewing was just the use of gender with the protagonist. Like they do show her naked body a lot, but it doesn't feel as fan servicey as I would have expected. And so towards the end of the movie, there's a conversation with the puppet master where he talks about how this new artificial intelligence that's arising can't reproduce. And so that's what's making it not human. It's not its lack of selfhood, but it can't reproduce and diversify. All it could ever be is a copy of a copy. And he wants to basically mate with the major because he suspects that she might also be an artificial intelligence, that she might not actually have brain matter in her, that she's unique like he is.
Well,
that's how I read it.
A different way.
Yeah.
Wow.
How did you take it, Jade? Because I took it a different way too.
So in the ending scene where she's laying down side by side with the puppet master, she's looking up at the ceiling, and as he's talking and kind of explaining why they should become one, she kind of sees feathers and like this bright light, kind of like this feels like an enlightenment moment or something, or some kind of like heavenly moment, an epiphany. Kind of what I took it as is that she felt the vastness of what it would mean to combine human and technology. And if we think of today's times too, already kind of what's happening is this synergy or this combination of the human and the artificial. And that what I feel like the movie the whole time is asking the question, like, what is the next evolution of humanity? I don't think evolution necessarily has to be something that's positive or negative or good or bad, but what is the next thing coming? And I think that's kind of what it was saying, is like, it would be a human that, it sounds so like Elon Musky, but like, yeah, a human that is embedded so deeply with technology that it is no longer human. It's interesting that you took it that she's artificial intelligence too.
Or she might be so far removed from the human that she's more AI. Her partner at one point, they're on a boat and he sees her changing and he looks at her and he's attracted to her. And so for her, she's unable, in her current form, she can't reproduce. She doesn't have reproductive organs. She could never be a mother, but she inhabits the body of a woman, which at that point is arbitrary. What is gender if the primary human reproductive ability isn't there? Then gender is just a performance for her. But here with this AI, she has the opportunity to reproduce.
Interesting.
What would that reproduction look like? I'm wondering.
Well, it requires the annihilation of both of them, which is kind of strange. Like they will both live on through a now combined consciousness, which is like a new person.
Who presumably, we don't know, is the person at the end.
Yeah. She even gets a new body. And she's so, by the end of the movie, she's so like committed to learning the truth about herself that she like, in order to just speak with the puppet master before he gets like smuggled back to Department 6 or whatever, like she's so committed to talking to him that she's willing to destroy her own body in the process. Like she's not identified with her body any longer.
That's an interesting element of the movie too. You were kind of talking about this before, where Motoko is just like a normal operative in the beginning, but then she starts to question herself and she pretty much kind of goes rogue. She's so compelled by wondering what she is or what self is or what her ghost is. And she has the whispering in her ghost that the answers lie in the puppet master throughout the movie. And so even as there's a part where Section 9 gets a hold of the puppet master, or the body, the doll that the puppet master is pretty much trapped in, and they're trying to figure out all this information about it. And Section 6 breaks in and we find out that Section 6 actually created the AI that is the puppet master, and it kind of developed its own self-awareness and became its own entity, and they're trying to cover it up. And so that's where the conflict comes in between Section 6 and Section 9. But Makoto, even as they take away the puppet master, Motoko is so invested in diving in, as they put it, which is like you can pretty much plug into someone else's consciousness. She tracks him down to the empty museum that we were talking about and destroys her body by fighting this giant spider invisible tank.
Her veins, like her arms and muscles, like bulging. It's so
such a
disturbing.
fucking cool scene.
It's a crazy scene.
Animation wise, insane to watch. The little like ripples and the muscles and everything like looks so real. Yeah. so visceral.
It was one thing that this is why I feel like I didn't know that this was made before Jinro when I watched this time. I had to look.
I didn't either.
Which is crazy,
telling me
right?
that was the first. Yeah, I know it is crazy because Jinro feels older for some reason.
It does. And something I thought it was after because Jinro has such a, we were talking about this in the episode, like great sense of realism. We were almost wondering like, why is this an anime? You know, because they capture like human motion and like physics so well. And they do the same in Ghost in the Shell, but it's imaginative because it's a dystopic sci-fi, not a place that doesn't exist in real life. And speaking to the point you were making, like just the way that they capture the physics of the weapons and the technology and the ways that they battle, like even the invisibility or the physics of her body as she rips off and like her body's falling apart and then she like topples off of the tank onto the ground. It's so amazing how they capture it. Like, I don't even know how you even like picture that in your mind and make that happen, especially like a cyborg being ripped apart. How do you imagine that?
They definitely put their money where it counts in terms of animators. Part of me did wonder if their telekinesis being used when they're right next to each other occasionally was like a way, like a cost saving.
Dude, for sure. Like I was watching it and I was like, that's bullshit. It's like a single frame for fucking a minute. And it's funny, like the movie had a lot of those moments actually, like the typical kind of anime thing of like a slow panning camera and it's just lips moving. Like, especially in the second third of the movie was like a lot of like, all right, we got to save stuff because later on she rips her hands open and we got to show all that. And I was looking it up. It was like one of the most like expensive anime movies at the time, or especially anime movies. I think it was like 10 million or something like that, which is crazy for today's standards. And it did not do well. Like especially in Japan, it did not do well. In the West,
well, just based off of how we all described our first experience with the movie, I guess I kind of understand.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit to settle in.
Yeah. I don't think it like bankrupted anyone potentially, but I just know it didn't really make an impact overseas.
I appreciated the 2 like chapter markers where it just shows the city with the music playing and it's just panning over and you're just seeing people going about their daily life, and you're notably like on the ground floor of the city where it's noticeably like poorer, more working class, like run down. It no longer looks like Tokyo, it looks like Hong Kong or something. A lot of the areas that we're looking at are like Chinatown style, implying that these are immigrants, that this society, even though everybody's mechanized, is still a result of just regular human beings that are not mechanized, just doing normal work still. I thought it was really grounding.
There are actually like a lot of quiet moments, or the movie gives you time to breathe for sure. When the action happens, and it felt like Jinro in that way too. Like there's a lot of just kind of subtle, gentle moments, but then when the action happens, it's pretty intense.
Yeah. I love that. And that's what carries the movie for me, is that like those atmospheric moments, like we were talking about, like the fucking Bulgarian ancient Japanese music playing over things is like, oh my God, I'm watching like a masterpiece. I don't know. It just, that and like there's like a few scenes that like really stand out, like the Major's fight in that landscape that's just the
it's like a shallow water with
shallow
the
water
city in the background, hazy
like,
city in the background.
I love that whole chase scene is just beautiful, through the market, and then that fight there I love.
She's like got like her invisibility cloak on or whatever.
Yeah.
So cool.
Aw, out of ammo.
Huh?
So we see him getting beaten up, and the only visuals we get of her is the water being displaced by her ass kicking.
Yeah, and that scene is so quiet apart from them just like making the noise. I love when anime does this shit. Like they do it in a few other like fights that I know are like iconic. It's just quiet, except it's like and like that's all you hear, and it's great.
Yeah, I like that they didn't go overboard with the sound effects. Like when they were breaking his wrist and stuff, I was totally prepared to be like, ugh! But instead it was like, crunch, crunch, crunch.
You're like, this is very palatable.
Right, yeah. She did the leg. I'm like, oh, I got that.
That scene is really cool. Something I like too is, when before that happens, Bato is one of the main people from Section 9. He's the guy that was on the boat with Motoko. Kind of likes her a little bit, you can tell, but he's like a solid, reliable side character. He has those weird circle eyes, right? They're obviously some kind of cybernetic implant, and they don't really say anything about it. But I only noticed this time watching as he's chasing down the terrorist with the gun in the marketplace. The terrorist puts on the cloak and becomes invisible, and no one can see him. But Bato, it shows through his eyes, can slightly make out like the silhouette of the guy, of the terrorist, which is so cool. Because I feel like in normal anime, there's so much fucking exposition. Like Darian and I were just talking about this the other day, where like you'll literally be watching something on the screen, and then it'll cut to like a random soldier or character who just literally describes that scene in front of you. And it's like, I see it right here. You do not need to say that. So I love
Miyazaki movies do that all the time. Like a protagonist will be watching like a van getting packed up, and there won't be anybody with the protagonist. They'll just say to themselves, or rather to the audience, it looks like they're packing up.
And that is like one of the less egregious examples in anime. I feel like Miyazaki's like, he's like, I'll hold back a little bit, make the viewers do the hard work. But it's funny you say that, because there's so many moments in this that are lacking in exposition, but there's a lot of other scenes that is just straight up just, let me talk at the camera right now and talk about, hey, look at these philosophical questions. Are we really human? And then it goes on for like 5 minutes and you're like, oh man, I'm being like talked at right now.
That's funny. Yeah, I guess it's true.
And it's still hard to understand. He's probably frustrated. He's like, all the exposition is the philosophical stuff and people still don't get it.
What's a simulated experience again?
Well, all your memories about your wife and daughter are false. They're like a dream. Someone's taken advantage of you. They were trying to make you ghost hack into some government officials. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Back to the terrorist guy, the puppet master has these like minions, or he's able to get people to do stuff for him by creating false memories for them so that they're personally motivated to do the thing that they're doing without realizing what the purpose is.
But that can't be.
I've been to your home. It's a bachelor's apartment. No one's there.
But I already told you, I rented that room when I separated from my wife.
I checked the records. You've been living there over 10 years. The truth is, you've never had a wife or kid. Like he said, they aren't real. They're a simulated experience, a fantasy.
I thought that was somewhat prophetic, that so much of like our online activity we think we're doing for one reason, but really it's in the interest of somebody else. Like our behavior online is the product in so much online activity where it's our data that's getting bought and sold, but we're getting tricked into thinking that like the product is that I get to see my friends on Instagram or something like that.
That's a great point. Yeah.
So I liked that these guys, they didn't even realize that they were helping the puppet master, because
that's so disturbing.
These like false memories into them.
Yeah, that is real today, just on a mass level. I mean, we're all kind of hypnotized by advertising and social media, and just even like clickbaity, just the constant barrage of the internet.
Yeah. Like if you look at TikTok, there's something disturbing about how like things will go viral, like an audio clip will go viral on TikTok, and then other people will like do a dub of that thing or do the same dance over the same music because that's what's trending at that moment, because they want to gain a following. So in a sense, they're pantomiming the algorithm. They're like enacting with their human body what the algorithm has told them is going to do well on the app. And so their behavior is almost then robotic and not their own authentic behavior.
That's so crazy. That's what people talk about, like robots taking over the world, but that is a version of that where we become subject to the algorithm. It maybe doesn't look physical in the way that people think of, like, you know, the Matrix, where all the robots are physically killing humans. It's this, our consciousness becomes subject to an algorithm.
It's like Neuralink and like the transhumanist stuff would just be the logical then next step, where you're even then, because like right now when we do work and we do labor of any kind, it's like well, it's still your body that's doing it. Our bodies are interfacing with machines. So we're alienated from the work, but we're still inside our corporeal selves. But what's like terrifying about the Major is she talks about how like if she were to quit the Force, she would actually have to give up the body that she has. Her selfhood doesn't extend beyond her consciousness. Like she's not only alienated from the work, but alienated from her own skin.
That's freaky. I don't like that. I don't want to think about that. Like not having ownership of your own body.
Or like your thoughts or something that you just encounter controls you. You're not subject to your own free will. It's just like you have this thought that was somehow implanted in you through the algorithm or through the Matrix, whatever. And that's what you act on, which isn't sci-fi to some degree.
False freedoms.
Yeah.
This movie hits hard, boys and girls.
I like
What did you guys?
The boys is like a gender neutral.
I do too, but I feel like I gotta clarify. You know,
Yeah.
BOI is gender neutral. Boys.
That's like how I say girls is gender neutral. GURL.
I disagree with that one. I don't know why.
I've been
but
saying that for way longer.
yeah, I feel uncomfortable every time you call me girl. I'm like, I'm not your girl.
Oh, but I'm the boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what did you guys think of the scene where she's on the boat with Bato and she's diving in the water and she kind of sinking down and then she describes why she dives into the water even though it's dangerous because her body weighs a lot. It's like a metal body jumping into water.
Her reasoning in doing it that she tells Bato is that she wanted to feel something essentially. Like she wanted to try to capture that sense of ownership that she feels like she's like missing. Like what exactly did she say?
Yeah. Here I have it actually.
Or what did she try to get at there? I wonder.
Water is definitely a theme.
Yeah.
Throughout. In the final boss scene, there's a statue of 3 fish right outside of the library or whatever. And then it's raining as well. Water could maybe be like, I think of the womb. I think of being in utero. I don't know.
She
What
says,
do you got, Jade?
She says, I feel cold, alone. Sometimes I even feel hope. She also says, I imagine I'm becoming someone else.
Well, she gets her wish, doesn't she?
Yeah. I think like Jinro too, this movie captures emptiness really well. Just the idea of wondering, are you even human or do you even have a soul if you're like completely constructed or fabricated? And I think, coming back to the point of like how it shows her body all the time, but doesn't feel like it's objectifying her. I think it's more feels like it's showing a doll. Because you don't actually see her genitals too when she's naked. You see her tits and you can't really see her nipples. But like the way that they animate it looks human, but it doesn't feel human.
Yeah, it's manufactured and it doesn't have genitals, only breasts. It's as if it's been manufactured for the male gaze. There's a fun parallel too in one of the montages when we're seeing the city and everybody walking around. The end final shot is a mannequin in a department store window, ready to be dressed by the levers of capital. I'll shut up.
You be you.
No, it's great that you bring that up because I was thinking that too, watching it through that lens of like, think about it through the lens of someone who doesn't watch anime, like you, Austin, or say that you don't watch when clearly you do.
We drag them along.
But I, because I was thinking about like these things that we're accustomed to, that we're being brainwashed to take in as a good amount of fan service in anime and a good amount of this and that, and these kind of tropes that come up. And I was thinking about that for this, and I agree that like largely it doesn't feel like fan servicey. It's not like it's panty shots of the Major and whatnot. And I like did research on it too. Apparently the manga, the original series, is a lot more fan servicey, and the Major is like completely different. The manga is more like humory and a little bit more lighthearted, and Mamoru Oshii like took it into a completely different direction. And funny enough, the creator of the manga, the mangaka, after he finished Ghost in the Shell, he did what he loves best and went on to draw hentai. So there's that.
Hell, he put some real care into the nipples. You guys said you didn't see the nipples. They were always there.
They're there.
Very delicate. There's passion. Makes me want to read the manga and like see all the differences. That's some of my joy, reading and watching the same thing so I can see the differences.
I definitely want to watch the Standalone Complex series after this.
Yeah, me too.
I was reading about it on the Wikipedia, and apparently you get a lot more background on the Major and all the other characters. And I read that the Major, prior to being in Section 9, had volunteered as a guerrilla fighter in the Third World to defend Third World countries from American imperialism.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Of course you want to read that.
Wasn't expecting
Right. That's what got you. That's crazy.
But now she works for the man.
There's like 5 or 6 different like series that followed after this movie. There's also a sequel to this movie. I don't know if it's directly tied to these events. It's still by Mamoru Oshii.
Yeah. I want to watch that.
I just got a 4K remaster last year. I know that, but I've never seen it.
Well, we'll have to have you back when we do that.
Yeah.
Got that Scarlett Johansson version.
Boo.
The best movie ever. The best adaptation.
Thank you, Martin.
Yeah. I really like that they made the Asian character white. That's
So
my
sick.
favorite part.
So fucking sick. But bringing this up, this is kind of an interesting, like, why do so many anime films fail? Where do they go so wrong? Because they always go so wrong, except for like a couple. I feel like Alita Battle Angel is actually a good example of an anime movie that was decent enough.
Is that good?
I liked it.
Huh. That's by Luc Besson. I never saw it, but it's the guy that did like La Femme Nikita and shit.
Oh, sick.
What are some other animes that have been adapted into live action?
There's a lot of ones that Japan adapts into live action, and I don't even bother with those because I don't really like Japanese movies. There are some that I really like, but overall, I'm just not a big fan. I love like Kurosawa and shit, the classic
We
shit.
were talking about how bad dubs could easily apply to Japanese live action, so I'm going to make you guys watch some Japanese movies.
I'm sure you have some
I
good
would love
ones in
to.
stock. Yeah. And yeah, there are really good Japanese movies, but other ones that have been made, hard to think.
Dragon Ball was
Dragon
like the
Ball.
classic, bad movie.
Yeah. So bad.
That was rough.
They made
Avatar, which is anime, not anime. What
Attack on Titan. Oh, that was still
that was Japanese. Yeah.
It's surprising that it would be so hard to adapt because it's not like a video game adaptation. Like, you've got the story, you've got the dialogue, you've got all this stuff. It seems like it'd be easy to translate.
Well, I think there's a lot of things that aren't easy to translate too. Like, exaggeration in anime works in anime, but doesn't work when an actor tries to act like an anime character. And so
it works really well, actually. Sin City. I haven't rewatched it since I was a child, but I remember that felt like a comic book.
Yeah.
And like people were expressive like they would be in a comic book. I wonder if you'd have to take an angle like that with anime.
Well, this is what I think. Like, I feel like, well, it's the same when you translate a book to film too. You wouldn't do chapter by chapter in a movie describing all the detail. You fit it for the medium. And I feel like that's the problem people have with making anime movies or anime into movies is they try to make it too much like the anime. You got to make it its own thing. You got to capture the essence of the anime and then evolve it into film. It's not a translation. It's something else. Because it just doesn't work that way. It's too cheesy. It's like, it's tacky.
Yeah. If they were to do it like how comics are, like all the Marvel series, like similar, yes, but like they don't try to make the characters look exactly the same. So the actors are able to kind of create the new character for themselves. But in all of the anime remakes, oh man, that would be interesting.
A Marvel Ghost in the Shell movie.
Oh my God.
I would kill myself.
Yeah.
It's hard. Adaptations are always like hard for me to justify and think about. Like, who is this for and who wants to watch this? Like, for video games, I always largely thought like, okay, video games make sense to some degree because a lot of people don't have certain video games or consoles or whatever it might be, or don't have the time to sit and play a 12-hour game. Like Last of Us, that's why I was excited. I was like, I have friends who don't play video games, but I love this story, so I can't wait for them to watch it. Turns out I don't really love the show, but that's besides the point.
But the show kind of felt like it was on rails, like you're in a video game. Like you could feel the puzzles almost in the script. Like, oh, how do we get around this door?
Yeah, I've heard that exact sentiment from a lot of people. Funny enough.
Huh.
Well, I liked it, so fuck off. I'm just kidding.
I'm still gonna watch it next month. I'll be there.
Yeah.
I read that apparently the creator of the video game was inspired to make the second season because I guess he was like on Birthright in Israel, and he saw some news story about like a Israeli guy that had been murdered by a Palestinian, and he felt so much rage towards the Palestinian people that he could understand why people do genocide. And so apparently the second video game is like his allegory of why sometimes it's okay to like kill tens of thousands of people.
That's crazy. There are themes like that. I think the end. I don't know. Neil Druckmann. Yeah. Have you guys watched The Edge of Tomorrow? Live Die Repeat.
Yeah.
Like that's a great movie, and it's very fun, and it's not very anime, and I think that's almost what helps it. Like I feel like when people, I almost feel the opposite of how you feel. Like when you take anime and you cut out that kind of like exaggerated like things that make it anime, and you don't try to like directly translate it one to one. It's like, yatta! Oh my God. And it's like, you get rid of that. And it's like, oh, I understand this language of live action. And I'm not like thrown off by this kind of like, what's it called when a robot doesn't really look human?
Uncanny Valley.
Like an Uncanny Valley type of movie.
Is that movie based off of an anime?
It's based on manga. Yeah.
Interesting. I thought that movie was great.
Yeah.
I had a blast with that.
I think one thing that film has that should be emphasized, because anime has such imaginative, creative worlds and characters, and that's a strong suit of it, and that's great to bring into film. But acting is something that is unique to film. And not, there's voice actors, and that is like a super important part of anime. But just as far as like all these micro expressions and, really expressing something through the character, I think that that's something that should be really important in anime adaptations. That's where film comes in and shines strongly, because they just can't animate that shit. It'd take forever. So they do the thing where you see one facial expression for 3 seconds, and then, they change it up a little bit.
Yeah, it requires a lot of intention on where you put the motion. Like there's such a skill in knowing when to invest energy into movement and animation. So it can sometimes be more minimalist than photography or something like that.
Yeah.
But I do think that there's a kind of acting that when you are animating, like I'm reading this book on animation, it's an American animation, but he talks about before going about doing your first draft of your stick figure motion, like you should do the motion yourself, like be an actor, express how you want it to go, and then try to get that onto the paper.
Yeah, I have my storage on my cameras on my iPhone is full just because it's just videos of me like acting things out in the background. Sometimes like my girlfriend takes my phone, sometimes just watches. I'm like, this you look like a crazy person. And I think that because my blinds are sometimes, off, and it's just me like waving my arms around in my house.
Jade, I'm sure similarly, like when you're drawing, will you do something with your hand as a model, or use a mirror as a model?
Yeah, for facial expressions or whatever. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Jade, do you find yourself making the facial expression as you're drawing it?
Well, I wonder.
I do that all the time. I'm like drawing this face, so I'm like making it.
If not, I should try that. That would help my drawings.
Like your characters are all so serious too. Like if you were to do the pictures, you'd be like,
I'm a serious man. Yeah, it's true.
I mean, some dark artistness going on.
Yes. They were more serious when he was younger because he couldn't draw hands. So all of his characters were like laid back with their hands in their pocket.
I was going for a cool vibe, guys.
Yeah. All the girls behind their back, like shy. I was going to say, just on this topic, I think what I like about these 90s anime is that kind of like live action quality to it, where it's not overly exaggerated and the voice actors kind of take a back seat. Like they're still acting, but they're not over exaggerating their lines, and there's not these tropes and stuff. This movie, like Jinro, is like, why is this animated? Or it could be live action easily. But to me, I feel like animation just heightens some of these things so much more, and it's so much more visual than like live action tends to be.
Another element of that realism is they seem like, I don't know if this is probably true today, but I keep noticing that in the credits, there's somebody that is the director of photography. So there's somebody on the production crew that's working with the storyboard artists and the animators and the background artists who has, I'm assuming, a background in photography and lighting. And so part of the realism of Jinro in this movie is the sources of the light feel authentic. They almost seem to have a focal length in mind for certain shots. I'm thinking of the scene right after the intro credits when she's getting out of bed and going to work. And she's silhouetted by the window behind her. And then she goes into the bathroom and we see the light from the door opening up. And it's all one shot. And then she leaves. And that feels very much like there was a director of photography there that had that shot in mind.
That's exactly the shot I had in mind as I was saying that too. Because like I was watching that, I was like, wow, like the light is so blown out, like as if it's like a real lens that's capturing it, that like the intensity of that light, it was the same as the light that was cast from the bathroom or whatever she was in. And I was like, oh, damn, this is insane. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I refer to myself as an intelligent life form because I am sentient and am able to recognize my own existence. But in my present state, I am still incomplete. I lack the most basic life processes inherent in all living organisms, reproducing and dying.
But you can copy yourself.
A copy is just an identical image. There is the possibility that a single virus could destroy an entire set of systems, and copies do not give rise to variety and originality.
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about the ending, too. We kind of touched on it a little bit, but pretty much they merge consciousness, the puppet master and Motoko.
And what does all this have to do with me?
I want us to merge.
Merge?
A unification. A complete commingling and fusion of our separate beings to create a new and unique entity. We will both undergo change, but there is nothing for either of us to lose.
And then she wakes up in Bato's safe house in a child's body because Section 6 comes in kind of towards the end and shoots up both of the bodies. And I guess maybe Bato grabs her head or something. I'm not quite sure. But he finds a body off the black market and is able to save Motoko.
Ah, you're finally awake.
Well, I see there have been some changes while I was gone. Want to clue me in? Where'd you get this body?
That's the only thing I could find on the black market. It's not my taste, to be honest. It's a little young.
Symbolically a child's body, now that she is essentially now the offspring of herself and the AI puppet master.
Right. And the movie ends as she's walking outside and overlooking the city.
And where does the newborn go from here? The net is vast and infinite.
The net is vast and infinite. That ending reminded me of Ex Machina, right? When the AI walks out and you're like, it's unleashed upon the world. But at the same time, I could see a hopeful version of this too.
Darian, as a first-time watcher, what was your feeling by the end of it?
I mean, I liked it. So I have my own concerns about AI and technology. Like as a person, I'm very nervous about the direction we're going. I'm like, oh, we didn't learn anything from iRobot. All right.
That's what we should learn.
We all watched.
Will Smith, teach us, save us.
The only thing I remember from that movie is at one point he sneezes to his boss, and then his boss goes gesundheit, and he goes, "Sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit." And I thought that was so sick. I tried it out so many times in school and with my elementary school classmates. I thought, like, this is gonna burn them so hard when I do this in school.
What a great line, man.
But back to you, Darian.
So I have my own like reservations about where we're going. Also, though, I have hope about it too. Like I don't think we're gonna nosedive the way a lot of people think. But I kind of took the ending as like a beginning for her, them, whatever they are at this point. You know, like. Because before it was like, who am I? What am I? Is there a future for me? Is there a future for people like me? And then kind of creating that, being like, I am the first. There is a future.
So you took it hopefully. Felt hopeful.
Take everything hopefully.
Yes, that is true.
Except iRobot.
What a weird, outdated reference. That movie died a long time ago.
When I saw like all this stuff and I was just like, oh man. We're going to be one with the robots. We learned nothing. And all the movies like that, not just iRobot. That's just the one that comes to mind.
Right.
Yeah. I think it is hard to not take it that way because I have a very similar kind of like take on AI and stuff. I don't know if I'm scared, but I fucking hate it, and I hate what it stands for, and I hate where the direction it's going. And with that in mind, of like me as an individual, yeah, it is a kind of like eerie ending, and I think it should be to most people potentially, of most humans, that it's this new being that now exists in the world and has free reign and is excited to go out there and like spread or evolve the human race. By getting rid of it. So
subtle note.
So I feel like that is the feeling that we probably should have, where it's like, oh, good for you, I guess, but damn, fuck, we're screwed a little bit. And I'm looking at the last shot here because I have it pulled up as well, and I was trying to think about this theme of water throughout the whole movie that like Austin was talking about as well. And the final shot is like a slow pan up this cityscape, and then it ends on like it drenched in water. Like the whole city is like on the waterfront, and it's kind of almost engulfed by it. And so it is that merging of like this organic and technology, and that's the final shot. And I feel like that sums it up perfectly for where she's at and what's to come.
Austin?
I do think there's like to me it felt optimistic. Whether like I personally am optimistic about AI or not, I felt like the perspective of the film, it felt like an optimistic ending. And it got me thinking about accelerationism, this idea that at one point in history, there were alternatives to this economic model. That during the 20th century, we had different varieties of how to organize society. And if you wanted to leave one, in theory, you could. There was an alternative to Western capitalism in the Soviet Union. But with the collapse of the Soviet Union, all that's on offer now is capitalism, just various types of capitalism, whether it's the Nordic model or laissez-faire capitalism or whatnot. So we're no longer in a position where we can go and point to something else and have an alternative. We only have this. And so now the option is, do you break this and come up with something new? Or do you try to put the brakes on capitalism? Do you try to reform it, try to slow down the processes, like keep things from getting further privatized, try to stop austerity programs, try to put Band-Aids on capitalism like Medicare for all? Or do you just hit the gas and you accelerate through it? And in that accelerationist theory, there's two lanes, kind of. There's the left-wing accelerationists and the right-wing accelerationists. The right-wing accelerationists, they take all the critiques of capitalism and they agree with them and they say, good, that's what we want. We want to end up in a world where we are the slaves of capital. And some of us will be anointed kings and queens to lord over that, almost like a neo-feudalism. Mm-hmm. People like Elon Musk, when they talk about colonizing Mars, I think that's kind of what they have in mind. When you put AI into it, AI, to me, feels like the fantasy of capital itself. That if what capital is, as Marx described it, is dead labor. Labor at one point happened, and now that labor is no longer happening, and the product is gone. But there's now this other thing, capital, which is representative of that dead labor. That doesn't do anything. It's non-productive. All it does is let you invest it into other things, which also require labor and resources and stuff. The capital doesn't do anything. It's only something to be traded. But to me, the AI is the fantasy of capital. Capital could create something. But what you end up with is, with AI art and stuff, is just a plagiarism machine that is just doing dead art. It's reproducing the old over and over again. And the puppet master is afraid of his inability to reproduce, because it would only be a carbon copy of a carbon copy of a carbon copy that, as we know, when you Xerox things, just degrades over time. And here now, at the end of the movie, is an opportunity to have accelerated capitalism to its logical conclusion, creating AI, but instead of ending up in neo-feudalism or whatever, here we've accelerated through it into something new. And it's not personally my philosophy, but that's kind of what I took the themes of the movie to represent, is there's no way out, there's only through, and it's only through this hell can we ever get to something new. And
interesting.
The web is vast and full of possibilities. Sorry for the rant.
It's interesting. And you use the word Xerox, which is making me feel old.
Can you imagine dick pics back in the days of Xerox? It takes like 30 minutes to print out the shitty, like pixelated, like and how you would take a photo of it. You'd have to scan it,
lay
right?
down on the machine after hours at the office.
I mean, black and white too. What do you think it looked like?
Right.
What could it be?
Wow.
Thanks for taking it there.
Okay. I have a take on it too. Bear with me. So, you know when people do ayahuasca?
Preach.
And
Is the magical masculine coming in?
Oh, it's coming in hot. It's coming in fucking hot.
We're ready.
Queen.
You got this,
So
girl.
tell us.
Well, okay, I actually do have a point here. When people do ayahuasca and they touch God or something, right? I feel like the ending is positive, or it has an uplifting feel. I agree with everything you're saying, Austin, too. But the one scene that kind of changes it for me is what we talked about before too, when she's side by side with the puppet master and she is looking up at the ceiling and she sees the feathers and the light. And throughout this whole movie, she feels incomplete. She feels lacking something, and the movie feels empty. And there's a moment when she combines with him that she feels whole. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of why I bring up ayahuasca. It's this experience where you connect to a larger consciousness, and what the puppet master is the embodiment of a larger consciousness. And so in a way, her choosing to become one with this entity is hopeful, because it's it is wholeness. It's her transcending the normal limitations of human consciousness and becoming the ether or something, is kind of how it felt to me. So it didn't actually feel that sinister. It felt sinister because it reminded me of Ex Machina, and that is kind of a scary idea. But I also think that the way that they interpret AI in this movie maybe differs from how we see it play out today.
Right. I mean, the technology in and of itself isn't the problem. It's in whose hands that technology is, and for what purposes is it being used.
100%.
But here we have individual AI that has cropped up almost organically, that it can't be controlled.
Right.
Despite the government and these corporations trying to in the movie, it breaks free.
Right. I'll trust the Major as our AI god.
Yeah.
Similarly, Neo at the end of The Matrix, he bursts out and then he flies away as if he's going to evangelize the spirit of oneness that he's taken in internally through his opening of his consciousness.
Is that what happened at the end of that movie?
Something like that.
I see.
I mean, that's a little bit of an interpretation, but kind of agree.
I don't know. I just watched the first half and then the fight scenes. So.
But I love iRobot.
It was all those cool one-liners, you know?
No,
yeah, of course.
I like that, Jade, though. You and I have talked about this a lot, about how revolution can't simply be purely changing people's material conditions, that there seems to also be necessary some type of consciousness raising. There needs to be a revolution of mind as well as just the material conditions.
Yeah, that is the point that we always come up against, because you're more focused on the politics of things.
Sure.
Politics is all pervading, but I'm also interested in the individual, or the individual. I don't want to call it enlightenment, but consciousness raising.
To call it enlightenment.
Yeah. Yeah. So
we're gonna do a different style of re-education camp than the Soviets. We're gonna get people into a dojo and hop them up on ayahuasca.
Sensei Jade.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna do some spiritual struggle sessions.
Yes. Any other thoughts?
I'm just excited to put some Bulgarian female television choir music.
Yeah.
For the end of that shit is so wild. It's it is kind of sci-fi. Right, I'm sure you've listened to it. Wait, the content.
Which one? Bulgarian television music?
Yeah, Bulgarian state television women's choir.
Oh, yeah.
It's weird that you just know about that. Is this something that you're into, Austin?
I listened to it, yeah. But it's been a while, but yeah, I went through a period.
It's been a while?
a couple of years. But yeah, I had a period where I was really into that shit.
Maybe I'm thinking about the wrong thing too, but I think I know what you're talking about. It is just folk, ethereal, folk Bulgarian music, right? Yeah.
Strange harmonizing and very ethereal.
Mm-hmm. That stuff is great.
And you listen to it and you're like, they were putting this on state television. Like, you just like go to channel 3 and this is what's happening.
Yep. Like, guys, this one's a banger. This is fucking sick.